We start this month with a huge Cyber Monday, and we're also celebrating the launch of brand new programs over at Synchronicity University, which includes legendary astrologers like Maurice Fernandez and legends in the making like Key Taylor and Sabrina Monarch, and so much more. All those links are below. It'll be a great month. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous superstar Capricorn. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of December 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boys, at a very special time. And it truly is so special now. Powerful energies are with us. And it starts right out of the gate as we begin the month. We do so on a new moon, and interestingly, we're going to end the month on a new moon as well. There's new beginnings and shifts of energies that are so powerful all around, setting us up for a brand new year right around the corner. But having said that, the new moon that happens on the first of the month is happening in the sign just before yours. And this has to do with what's happening on levels of soul and psyche and spirit. It has to do with what's happening behind the scenes, under the surface, and mostly this represents a restless energy within, but it's also closing karmic ties, ending karmic chapters, and understanding what a healthy connection to source is for you. Now, the great thing about this new moon is that it is speaking in supreme harmony with Mars. Mars is at the height of its power as we begin the month. It goes retrograde a few days in, though I'll talk about that in just a moment. And so it's closer to the earth than it might otherwise be, magnified in significance. However, what we also have happening is this sense of Saturn, your ruling planet, speaking in a conversation of tension with this new moon. Now that's a little trickier. I do want to be straightforward with you, because the position of the new moon being in the sign just before yours means that whatever's taking place, it might feel like you don't have any power over it, you don't have any control over it, or it's just a feeling you can't quite put your finger on, but you know that something's in flux within. And ultimately what this is the universe creating space for the new and the next to find you. That's coming up super quick. I'll talk about that in just a bit. But the square of Saturn suggests that you can feel that maybe some of the things ending, you wish they had been longer lasting. You can feel now that being honest with yourself, even if it's hard, ultimately is a good thing for you, because it's allowing that state of change and that state of flux to transpire. It's allowing that space to open up. Regardless though, whatever needs to go, let it. Whatever wants to come, let it. Because this can be a time when you feel that much more aware that there's some higher, more loving wisdom playing out in your life. You don't always have to make sense of it. There's a feeling that you have so much more yet to do in this lifetime, and you truly do. You don't need to know all the details just yet. It is going to be on the 6th of the month that Mars will go retro, and Mars is going retro in a part of the sky for you that has to do with profound change, truth, transformation, and regeneration. It has to do with what's happening on levels of understanding what wealth is for you, uniquely for you, and how you're going to define it. Now, when we have Mars shifting directions, there's a lot of focus, there's a lot of passion as well. I think that there are going to be many Capricorns who experience this energy in the context of love. I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But outside of that, this part of the sky having to do with grants, loans, credit cards, benefits you qualify for. Yeah, with Mars here, you might be paying more attention to these matters in some way. It could be that you're just trying to get that whole situation right. You're feeling empowered, you're feeling strong, you're trying to pay off certain debts, or maybe you're trying to access funding. But I would just invite you to be a little careful with that, because a Mars retrograde here suggests that, and whenever we have an important retrograde like this here, just know that it isn't always what it seems. So, I like to say pace yourself and be yourself. You really want to do that right about now. but know that this is ultimately about empowering you to get honest and to find strength within it and to define wealth in different ways and on your own terms. Where it is that you're focused on facilitating some transformation in your life, whether it's in your life in practical ways, whether it's in your psyche through a psychological therapeutic journey, whatever it is for you, this is where you might be giving it a lot now, but the rewards could be there as well. I've have been speaking to you about this here on my YouTube channel, and of course the dedicated download that's available on my website, nadiyashah.com. All those links are below. But it's the following day that Neptune goes direct. This is huge. Mars going retro and then Neptune going direct back to back. It is that Neptune direct that is so intriguing because it is some light coming on. It's some sense of you didn't know that you were asleep until you were shaken awake in some way. And it's like a truth of a situation that you can't deny. You can't not be honest with yourself about. And so this allows a sense of feeling, now that you know, you can move forward. You're seeing some truth and it's a game changer. For all that though, we get here this Neptunian energy in a communicative part of your sky, having to do with siblings, cousins, and neighbors. But outside of that, it's communication of all kinds, by letter, by email, through synchronistic moments. And boy, it is in synchronicity that you have that wake up where you didn't realize that you didn't know there was some illusion. You thought it was real until you realized it wasn't. But this could also be that letter finally coming through, that message finally coming through, and you see things differently. With the emphasis on see, you perceive it differently now. A matter that might have been perplexing now reveals itself that much more fully. And from there, it ends up being consequential as part of you making your plans and figuring out the next best steps for you. Now, as I mentioned, siblings, cousins, neighbors are covered here. If there's been a matter of uncertainty around one of these people, well, now it'll feel like the clouds are clearing and there's going to be answers and movement forward in their lives. And that may or may not have anything to do with you directly and just might be playing out in their lives at this time. Moving forward, it is going to be on the 15th of the month. We've got a big day because it is on the 15th that we're going to have a full moon. And that full moon is in a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life. Now, this is your work life, the types of work you're doing, the people who surround you there. But it's also about your health life as well, how well you take care of you, the little habits and rituals as you move through your day. And so this full moon is close in the sky with Jupiter. So that brings with it healing and hope. I love that energy. Brings with it opportunity. However, Saturn and Neptune are speaking in tension with this full moon, which does suggest some difficult truths, some frustration, some need to face expectation or fantasy or desire with reality as part of making a more honest and thorough evaluation. How you're actually living, how you feel about it. How do you feel about how you're living your life day in and day out? Mercury goes direct on the same day. And that is Mercury direct where we had that new moon in the sign just before yours. And to me, I look at this and if there's been any kind of mystery, any kind of uncertainty, maybe it has to do with a client, a customer, or coworker, or maybe it has to do with the health related matter. Well, a lot of these energies suggest the answers come. In some way, what you didn't know, all of a sudden you know. And it's a game changer. It could be that one of these people I just mentioned is really not on the right track. Now that could be rather innocent, right? They don't realize they're giving you incorrect information, but then you know and you're seeing it differently. You're understanding dynamics playing out around you differently now, more clearly now. But it's also possible here that we get energies that speak to what is deliberate. It could be that one of these people deliberately has been not honest with you. And if that's the case, that will likely come to light under the light of this full moon. For all that, Also health related matters. If there's been a mystery or it felt like things were going a certain way, it's like you're able to see more clearly a health related matter. But that ends up being tremendously empowering. It's like the information you need to move yourself in a direction of greater well-being. Now, that's not necessarily going to be the case for lots and lots of Capricorns out there. For many, this is just going to be an illumination of your habits, of realizing something, maybe something really small, like how you've been eating a little bit differently, or something that's been part of some sense of a lower energy for you. Or maybe the dosages on your medications are a little bit out of whack, and then you get the clarity and you understand, you shift them, and then the solution comes very quickly as well. These are some possible scenarios that might find you at this time. Now, navigating to the end of the month, on the 30th of the month, we have a new moon in your sign. This is huge. We end the month on a new moon, but it's in your sign, and it's speaking in harmony with Saturn, your ruling planet. And all of that suggests whatever kind of roller coaster the universe needs to take you on this month, at the end of the month, you have some insight into yourself, into some truth of who you are, of what it is that really matters to you. You have some clarity about where it is that you might be ready to begin again in important ways. And so this is new chapters that are near and dear, what matters to you most, what matters to you first. And it really is about knowing yourself differently and wanting to live that truth in real ways, in practical ways. It's making a plan for your pathway forward in a way that I think will be positively rewarding, meaningful to you, especially personally. What a great time to be sort of brainstorming and figuring out what your goals are for the year ahead, as part of then implementing that as part of your pathway forward. Now, new moon in your sign is like your personal new year. So yeah, your new year is coming like a day or two early, depending on where you are on the planet. But it'll come, and it'll be just what you need when you need it, as part of feeling that sense of a fresh beginning. Now, where it comes to matters of love, I'm going back to Mars, because in the astrological chart, there are 3 areas that have to do with love in the astrology chart. And this larger Mars retrograde season will take place with Mars retrograding between 2 of them. And this ends up being incredibly significant a time for you. The main thing is, with this Mars retrograde season, breakups that happen tend to not stay broken up. So you are one of the signs that needs to be mindful of that. But for all that, this can be a time of heightened passion for the Capricorns out there. There is energy here of wanting to bond and be known deeply by another. And because of the association with authenticity of this part of the sky, it's the authentic pull towards another person that is going to be of interest to you and just might find you now. And those of you who are in bonds, well, they could grow that much richer and deeper. So for those of you open to meeting someone new, if you connect with someone new, especially under a sky like this month, just know what you think it is and what it ends up being might end up being very different. So you do want to pace yourself at this time, especially if it's the case that there's some difference or not being at the same level where it comes to finances. I'm sorry to say it can happen. It does happen. But yeah, there could be some tension there. Now, that just might be oriented around how you feel or how they feel. But of course, it could take on other layers as well, where it feels as if one person has to come through a lot more than the other, and so on. New people, it can feel really intense, really quick, very passionate, very quick. I mean, passionate energy is so high now. But if you can, I would say strive not to make big life-changing choices yet, at least not until we get like into the spring of next year, because that's when it just might look really different, the dynamic or this person. So pace yourself and be yourself. You know, I like to say that, but if you're connecting with someone new, just doing that might be challenging, but it's up to you to decide what's right for you to do in light of your unique circumstances. For those of you just starting to date someone, this is super passionate, super intense. An increase of intimacy is that much more likely. Remember, breakups that happen to do not stay broken up. as much as this energy can feel very all or nothing, it can also feel very intense. And so do what's right for you to do in light of your unique circumstances. But just know, whatever you're feeling with this person, you just might see it differently, especially once we navigate into the spring of next year. And I know that feels really far, but you and I both know you blink and you'll be there. And so whatever's happening now, stay true to yourself, do what feels right for you to do, but be open to other perspectives. And for those of you in an established bond, well, the overwhelming majority are going to find this a time of increased passion and purpose and connection and just wanting to be with each other that much more. And that can be a lovely way this energy comes forward, a deeper connection between the two of you emotionally and possibly physically as well. There is going to be a percentage that it could be that this doesn't play out in your relationship at all, but rather in terms of your partner's finances. Maybe they're just really busy trying to make money, or maybe they need to make money for some reason. They're trying to access it. So that might not have anything to do with you directly. And outside of that, though, it might be a time when you are hoping and feeling like you want them to share resources more in some way. If it is that you felt for a while that you are not in the right relationship for you, this is a lot of that stirring for you. There's a lot of complicated emotion just under the surface, a lot of frustration as well. And it's up to you to decide what you're going to do about it. Even if you know you're going to see this moment differently in the months ahead, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do exactly what's right for you to do in this moment in light of your unique circumstances. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It is a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say the new moon in your sign. I think that's a really big deal of an energy. Having that new moon speaks so powerfully to a new beginning for you, a sense of being on a fresh chapter. With all the much more dramatic energies in the first part of the month, it's like you remembering some solid core truth within yourself about you. And it ends up helping you to feel steady and genuinely strong. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Membership Rate over at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Remember, this is December. We've got lots of giveaways happening over on my website, NadiyaShah.com, and on my social media. So make sure you follow me there. And I look forward to celebrating this last month of December with you. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.